Hi, I'm Rick Standridge. I'm here at Nelson and Galbreath Real Estate for my buddy Nathan, who once sat with me and we just began to describe an idea for a diptych painting for the lobby. The one I'm standing in now is one of two paintings in the lobby here that Nathan really conjured out of several interviews. His idea was to have a diptych painting that would formulate in a motif of relating to the history of real estate. Now that's a big place. The challenge for artists when faced with these kind of ideas, artistic ideas, is that it can get too busy. You can overwork it and it becomes more illustrative. So what I try to do is refine it and get down to the bare essence of how can I tell a big story of the history of real estate in a small setting of two paintings. So this painting here, as you can see, has a lot in it, but we were depending upon the color to communicate the message of the history of real estate as much as we were the actual figures themselves. Nathan wanted a lot of color inside of this beautiful palette that he has inside of his offices now, which are primarily bluish grays, blacks, and tans, along with the yellow ochre of the wooden floors. So we picked up some of those, not that that's the way that I paint, but by happenstance it worked out perfectly. So what is real estate about? Well, we narrowed it down to it's about longitude and latitudinal points. It's about lines in the sand, tree to tree, river to river, post to post. And then with that in mind, I after the abstract expression of really just moving the paint, then the layers of the lines began to emerge. So right here you can see that we have the longitude and latitudinal point for Greenville, South Carolina. It's about earth. It's about deeds and certificates and record keeping and a lot of paperwork involved. For America, of course, it's about some things that aren't very comfortable to discuss, and that's wars, deaths, and even sometimes here we have the American Indian. This is Chief Seattle in 1852, who wrote the president at that time. I thought it was really great to have that homage to really the first ethnic idea of what real estate was in America. So then we've got Abe Lincoln here. We're going on further down the road in his vision. And so he's looking to the left of the painting, which really goes into the future painting of the real estate painting that's next to us. So staking claims. Here's the nomadic society. Once we as in our ancestors stopped following the herd of animals, that's when we started to become the planters, and we started marking lands out as we marked the land to plant the seeds to harvest our keeping. And so then no more nomadic society. Of course, these ships going off the end of the painting here is an homage to the idea that the earth was flat. And then we've got surveyor number one here. You can see this red line here is this is an isolated color. And I wanted something to connect these paintings more than just the dialogue itself. So then I put the line and it continues over into the next painting, as you'll see. These, starting at the top with, this is half of the 10 most expensive pieces of real estate from a street level in the world. And it goes from Fifth Avenue of New York to the Avenue of the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and on and on. But then machines came into the world, the industrious world, post-industrious world, communication age, the information age, and that's where we segue over into our next painting. So then here we are for the second part of our diptych to make up the real estate paintings, and the future of real estate was Nathan's idea. He really loved the idea of the augmentation, the computer senses that we are applying to real estate today. We can show a man a living room and turn the lights on by virtual reality while he's in Spain and we're in Greenville, South Carolina. So it's becoming that kind of makeup for these venues of real estate now. So here we are. The numbers represent that, the augmentation, the computer programmer, and the virtual realities of that. You've got our second survey man here with his receiver stick, and then you can also see the line that continues from our first painting, as well as the finishing of the Champs-Élysées, the Fifth Avenue, etc., etc. Now, how do we travel on real estate was important to me. So the subway system was one big solution for Manhattan. And then I thought about the color systems that were used in 1972, introduced by Massimo Viginali. He was a graphic designer, and he put a grid of color. So he like we're doing in this painting, is using colors to reference a communicational tool. So then that's what this is here. Of course, you've got your Manhattan map. And some of that does run over into painting number one. So here we go right here. You've got one street that's got the name of Falls 131. That's the address for Nelson Galbreath Real Estate here. These are forced lines, forced perspectives, showing the idea of virtual reality of buildings. And then we have also Nathan's stamp up there. And the absence of color sometimes is just as important as the actual application of color. So to use really the raw canvas itself with the gesso was as important to me in the construction of this painting as was the color itself. And it has to balance. Why do I have the E dropping off? You know, Andy Warhol and Picasso said better not explain everything, to give you something to think about.